So, for the last 100 or so days, I have recorded something every single day. I have consistently recorded on a daily basis. I think I've missed like something like less than 5 days, and I've recorded over 100 videos. At the time of speaking, I think 94 have been published, but I have another 2 weeks worth in the pipeline because I post these retroactively. And I have for the longest time struggled with consistency. I consider myself somebody who's not like naturally the most disciplined. I work a lot, but I work based a lot. Like I get excited about a lot of things and I get like this kind of focus tends to help a lot. Um, and even though I have bouts of focus and discipline over the long run, like there are certain things which you need to get really consistent at. And so I wanted to make a video about how I approach consistency and the main themes in my thought process are focus and simplicity, and if it justifies like getting other people to do some of the work which you're not good at. So the start is focus. Like pick your battles. Don't try and be consistent at everything because you're gonna fail. If you try and be consistent at meditating, rope jumping, skydiving, dog walking, yoga, like spin classes, like all, whatever, for whatever reason, you just want to do every damn thing, you're never going to be able to be consistent at all of them because your attention is so split. And so the first thing that lets you be consistent, if you're somebody who, if it doesn't come to you naturally, is don't try to be consistent at everything, right? So just pick one thing. And for me, that was the videos, because I was trying, I wanted to get into content, but I kept recording and then forgetting and then whatever. And so at some point I was like, okay, I'm just going to promise to record something every day. And that's just going to be my one focus. And then step two is simplicity and lower the bar to be consistent. So I have found that like I've made a point of making these on a daily basis, but in order to do that, a big part of it is just make the task simpler to do, make it easier to do. I have a playlist which is kind of like made for the internet, right? So videos where I maybe try and scripting. I don't really script them, but I jot down a couple bullet points. Maybe they're a little bit structured. They get edited, right? So they have to send them to the editor. I try and make thumbnails for them, even, as bad as those thumbnails may be, whatever. I put a little bit more time and effort into those. But fundamentally, when I said I wanted to do the daily vlogs, a big point that I made to myself was like, okay, well, that I made to myself in anything I want to be consistent at is I'm not going to make a point of making these the best or the nicest thing in the world. There's this mindset which is like done is better than perfect. Sometimes you need perfect, sometimes you need done. And you need to be able to evaluate and discern when to use one, when to use the other. I'm a perfectionist, and sometimes that works to my favor. When I'm working on client projects and things, sometimes I'm going to work way more hours than I need to on a particular thing because I am a perfectionist about it. Now, sometimes that will inhibit you. For example, in recording videos, if every day I wanted to record the best video I could, I would fail because you're not going to be able to do that every day. And so the point is just to record, to just do the action, just do the primary action, and I've tried to be consistent in a lot of things. Most of them have failed. The things where it has worked is where I've made it extremely simple. If you lower the barriers, like you want to basically lower the barriers to entry for yourself to do the thing. So think about how can you make it the most easily accessible thing in the world. And this is why like location is one of the most important things for me when I choose where I'm going to stay in a country, because location determines the ease with which I do certain actions. If I am half an hour from a gym or if I'm 5 minutes from a gym, the activity of going to the gym is much easier or much harder, right? Now, it just so happens I like going to the gym, so I will usually go out of my way for that. But even here in Lisbon, I am a little bit far from the nearest gym, like this house that I'm at with my family. And so that is one of my pain points while I'm here, to be honest. And I have made a particular point, like if I get a place in London or, I'm probably going to find some place to move out over the next couple of months. And I'm making a point of being near like groceries and gym so that I don't have as many, like it's all about just making things accessible to you. If you want to read on a daily basis, you need to have your book nearby and you need to find what works for you. For me, I suck at sitting down and reading. I get distracted. I want to go fiddle, whatever. I have a short attention span, you name it. So what has worked for me for reading, there was a point in time where I did it on a daily basis, it was just going on walks, because for me, that made it easy. And I can listen to audiobooks, and I like listening to audiobooks. It plays while, I focus on that while my eyes are, sufficiently stimulated with just the outside. And that worked really well for me. It's all about just not getting in your head about how it should be or whatever. It's just minimize the task as much as possible and make it stupid easy. That's what gets the consistency there. And then you can start working on improvements. You can start working on improvements later. First, you just need to do the step. And the third step of my findings have been like, involve other people. There is somebody who I catch up with on a weekly basis about content, and I started doing this before the weekly things. And they were doing like weekly shorts or something, and I was like, okay, I could probably pick something up from this. Shorts aren't really my style, but I like to do reflections. I already do voice memos myself privately. Why don't I just spin this up into something public? And I basically create a public diary of sorts. And that has been a really valuable reflection. So, like, just link other people, but those people, you also have to hold them accountable. They have to be the kind of people who are willing to be held accountable. Not everybody will be, and this doesn't always work. Don't schedule regular calls without good reason. This is a lesson that I've learned after having done that sometimes, and then realizing there's no use for those calls. But just get consistent by putting yourself in a position where it's easy to do the thing. It's simple and it's focused, right? Like, there's not a list of 15 things you have to do. There's just, at best case, it's just one. That idea of focus gets you so far. Or at least that's what I've observed in some of the most successful people that I look up to. And it's also the singular thing that has made me the most progress in six or so years of playing around and trying so many different, like, online business, tech, this, tech, that, whatever. Like, that's the one thing that actually brought me, is when I committed to doing one business model, one agency. There were so many times in the last 2 years, I cannot express this enough, but like, that I kept wanting to jump ship. I was like, oh, development agencies suck. I can't get clients. This is a bad business model, whatever. Truth is, you just have to stick through the part that sucks. Most people quit and then go somewhere else. That's the problem. But anyway, yeah, I guess, I mean, you could probably extend that. Like, I've recorded for 100 days. I've been doing a development agency for like 600 or 700, 800, whatever 2.5 years is. It's obviously more than 600, so I can say that with confidence. And that's a hell of a lot more consistency than 100 days of recording. And it just comes from one singular point of focus. That is hard, very hard to keep. And you have to say no, and you have to sometimes, like, you will be scared that you're doing the wrong thing, and that will happen. But like, I would rather focus than, like, a perfect opportunity vehicle, when you keep switching to a different one, will never work. Whereas a mediocre opportunity vehicle that's stuck to for a long time will take you somewhere. And that's a big lesson. So if you want to be consistent, just pick something, make it simple, focus on that, like with habits, and then bring other people in. Bring people. So, like, one of the things that has made the video posting super easy, and obviously this isn't like a beginner play, but I have an editor and I have an assistant, and my editor, so I record these clips on my phone. Now I'm thinking of buying a camera or whatever, but I might still do the daily things on my phone just because it's easier. It's all about ease. It's all about making it the simplest process possible. And so I record these on my phone. I upload them to an iCloud folder on my phone. And if there are multiple clips, my editor will just stitch them together, and he puts them on this platform called Frame. And then my assistant is, on a weekly basis, she will check Frame and she will look at everything. She'll download that footage, post it all on YouTube, select a thumbnail for me. So she'll just screenshot a part of the video, and I choose the title. I have a Notion table where I just keep my titles, and she will just look at the title, look at the footage, put both on YouTube, copy paste the same description from my Notion table every single time. It's very simple. And it's just rinse and repeat. I literally, like, I have 2 touch points. I record the video and I write a title, and 2 weeks later a video goes up, and I haven't touched it. All I do is I sign in and I look at it on YouTube, and it's there. And that has been one of the nicest things that, like, I totally underestimated how much of a difference that made to me. And that has been brutal. Now, if you're a business owner and you have you have the resources to hire other people, you can hire assistants and editors and whatever else. Now, I understand that's not going to be the case for everyone, and so accountability partners can be good, right? So actually, I just spun up a community. If you're curious, you could maybe find an accountability partner there, because chances are they'll probably be interested in the same things that you are. But the whole point is get consistent at something. So, and in order to do that, you just need to find like focus, simple, find other people who can keep you accountable to the thing, and part of making the process simple was automating with my assistant and my editor, and like reducing the touch points. Basically, like I want to reduce the touch points to complete the action. The action is upload a YouTube video, and I just thought, okay, how can I reduce this as much as possible? There was, I was considering what's the best way to like file transfer whatever without losing quality, but my key consideration was, how do I just keep this as simple as possible? The answer was iCloud Drive. Maybe it's Dropbox, maybe it's Google Files for you, doesn't matter, but just keep it stupid simple. And think, like, brainstorm actively about how you can make the thing easier to complete for you. I track, I've tracked data for a while, particularly my bank accounts. I have a couple different bank accounts. And yeah, just like there was a point in time where I made it a habit to just check it daily and like record it daily. But that was the only daily habit I did. It was all about, like, I just did that first thing in the morning, every single morning. I had a reminder, I had an alarm, whatever. And I did that. And now I still have that habit. Now I don't do it on a daily basis because I don't need to, but it is still a very, very strong habit of mine to kind of go through there, because I started seeing how useful it was. When you build a habit, it has a kind of residue that it lasts. Like, even if you stop enforcing it on a daily basis, like it stays there and whatever else. And it kind of trails off. And I think that's really useful. But you will not build the 10 habits that you want overnight. And you will lose habits, and then you can gain them back, and then you will lose them again. And that's part of the game. Like, that is part of the process. And if you're not okay with that, you're not going to get there, or wherever you want to go. You have to be okay with sometimes losing progress. If you do not maintain something, it will decay. And that is natural. And so you have to rotate and, focus on different things. But yeah, another reflection I've been having is like how to prioritize. But I'll put that for a video tomorrow. I think that that's another reflection. Anyway, today was really nice. Today was really just busy, and I was very high energy about it. I think that was one of the very, very nice things about today. So I'm going to get to sleep, probably wake up early tomorrow for the first time in a while, and get back to work. So that's the plan.